Welcome back to the Citi Newsroom. Let's bring you more stories now. The future of Ghana's cocoa industry seems to be under threat as low incomes push to ventures. According to research by Oxfam, the living standards of cocoa farmers in the country keeps declining, with over 90% living in poverty. The government is projecting to export cocoa $1 billion for the country in 2025. But with the current crop of farmers opting out, the reluctance of the youth to get into the business and production already declining, will government be able to meet its targets? Nashika Caesar has the rest of the story.
Cocoa production has been the backbone of the Ghanaian economy for several decades now, with the commodity accounting for about 30% of the country's total foreign exchange earnings. In 2022, cocoa in Ghana was forecast to contribute 3.41 billion Ghana cedis to the country's gross domestic product, GDP. The golden pod, as it is sometimes called, is also expected to account for over 4 billion of GDP by 2025. Despite the enormous contribution of the golden pod to the economy, the farmers who cultivate the cash crop are one of the poorest in the country. COVID-19 is ahead of research at Oxfam, and he says research they conducted in 2022 shows that over 90% of cocoa farmers in the country live below the poverty line.
The findings were really quite sobering. 90% of farmers told us that they were today worse off than they were 3 years ago, considering their incomes. We found a significant decline in production by cocoa farmers over the past 3 harvesting seasons, and also just an explosion in costs of production across cocoa communities.
Currently, cocoa farmers in Ghana receive 800 cedis for a bag of cocoa, a price they lament is woefully inadequate considering the hard work and high cost of production involved in cocoa culture.
People in Ghana is cocoa farmers. And I may say, let me took here. When today farmers just unite and they amplify their voice that they are going to strike, I think all the nation is going to shut down, because everybody eats in the morning and we drink agriculture, we eat agriculture. And how much more we are just cheating up on the farmers, and we are not giving them the respect. All the time, the farmers are pending debts over them because the money is not enough, even to take up the expenses which the farmer may just use on labor costs in the farm. It runs a loss because of the price is very low.
How much is the price of cocoa now, like the sack, and then as compared to maybe 2-3 years ago? And then also in comparison to the prices from Ivory Coast, is Ghana better off?
The current price of a bag of cocoa that is 62.5 kilograms is at 800 cedis. 800 cedis. Before this, at the current inflation and economic issues, to the current labor intensive and the production cost, we are not making profit, especially those who have smaller farm sizes.
Cocoa production is a very tedious work, and sometimes you don't get money to provide the necessary chemicals for the insects that come into your farm. Sometimes we get them, but sometimes we don't get them. And because the money is not enough to purchase all these chemicals, we run at a loss. The government didn't consider the way farmers are suffering and assist them. Very soon they will stop.
COVID-19 also said chocolatiers or international corporations which buy the cocoa have failed to improve the livelihoods of farmers.
When we visited communities, you oftentimes had 3, 4, 5 companies doing their own little projects in the community rather than working together and really creating synergies across. The second one is really one of missing investment. Companies have high ambitions when it comes to raising the incomes of farmers, but they really have not invested sufficient resources into their programs in order to achieve those. We sometimes came across communities or company agents that were responsible for 50 communities, and of course that level of engagement is not sufficient.
You see a lot of them quitting farming and then venturing into these illegal mining gangs. You see a lot of them selling off their farms and all that to these illegal miners. Do you think that's a threat to the cocoa industry in Ghana generally?
Oh, absolutely it is. And I think cocoa and chocolate companies are recognizing that. I think that's just part of the reason why the issue of higher farm incomes has really risen up in the agenda of these companies. Again, the challenge is that the recognition is there, but the investment currently still isn't.
The farmers also accuse the chocolatiers of exploitation.
No, the government alone cannot decide. The government tells you what you have is what you have to give. But the international, the LBCs rather, are gaining from the farmers.
This is LBC.
That's the Purchasing Limited, that's the Yaya Global and Co., the PBC and Co. You know, they decide to come out with the price they want. And when they bring, whether it's good for the farmer or not, in terms of benchmark pricing, we need to get a cocoa board, the interceder to be on behalf and to get a chief farmer to just negotiate with the farmer that how should we make this deal? But later you just hear they say cocoa price have been increased whilst the farmer is not involved.
Look at the international outside the private companies that buy the cocoa and process it. They are making enough, but the farmer is still poor. Yes, at the disadvantage of the farmer.
The low numbers involved is a threat to the future of Ghana's cocoa industry, as youth in cocoa growing communities shy away from growing the cash crop.
Okay, we went for a cocoa price at Magdic Royal Hotel at Kufudia, and we made the pricing to 1,000. But later, because of the inflations that have been hitting the country, they just alleviated to 800 Ghana cedis. And I may say cocoa crop is the most export commodity in Ghana. Timbers and gold are there, but that is the one that I may say is a political tree. And whenever they want to make an increment of cocoa, it's just a year of election.
The cocoa farmers say the only way to really help improve their life and secure the future of the Ghanaian economy is by increasing.
The best thing that I think we can do is just to buy it at the right prices that it will help the farmer to sustain the business. Because if we don't do that, then we fear for the near future.
Finding out that the price of cocoa, like a bag, is now going for 800 Ghana cedis, which you say is not enough. How much would be enough for you?
If they upgrade it to 1,002, it will be okay for us.
Now, the cocoa farmers are demanding that as a matter of urgency, government reprices the price of cocoa from the current 800,000 cedis to at least 1,500 cedis. Reporting for Citi News, my name is Nashika Caesar.